the convening of the Creative Consultants. I'm Trudi, Chief Communication Consultant.
And I'm Matt, Chief Content Consultant.
And we are here, Season 2.
Season 2.
For our episode today that I'm in charge of. Whoop, whoop. And it is going slow to go fast. Deep creativity. I'm going to start with a quote, as per custom.
As per custom.
Are you ready?
I was born ready.
I don't know who said this, but it's beautiful. Don't get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. Does anyone need a tissue?
I'm okay.
Okay, welcome.
Yeah,
That's what we're going to discuss today.
Yeah.
Going slow to go fast.
Yeah.
There's lots on this. I'm going to start with you.
Yeah.
Asking you a question. Tell me about that.
Thank you for that seamless and smooth segue. Yeah, look, I mean, going slow to go fast, right? It seems like it's a little bit counterintuitive, but I've often found, and I've had a lot of people, mentors and coaches tell me that thinking time is golden. And so thinking time is kind of the space in a calendar, space in a day, space in a week where you dedicate it to, you know, some people call it white space in their calendar, but just like space that's not assigned to tasks, but rather just to think and let your brain wander. And I often think like creativity and you know, making something creative, it's so juxtaposed with the idea of deadlines and you know, doing things by a certain day, that it's almost this really challenging disconnect between the two. And so I like to think of thinking time as this really great space to just like let all of those ideas and thoughts percolate. The team here often refer to me doing that as going into Matt's mind palace, where I sort of sit there, we've had a discussion about a project, whatever it is, go, here's what we need to achieve, here's the deadlines, here's some initial thoughts, and then we go, cool, Matt's going to put that in his mind palace, and then in a couple of days' time, we'll revisit it. And I think without the pressure of like, we need to deliver on this today or tomorrow, having space for those ideas to just, you know, work their way into this sort of subconscious and conscious mind, and then come out when you do sit down to have a more intentional conversation about it, they've had time to attach themselves to other things or cement a really strong idea that you might have had. And then that way you can then start iterating on that because you've had the thinking time to work on it. So I'd be curious to know from your side, like, does thinking time factor into how you go about what you do?
Oh, very much. But before I answer that, I have another question for you.
Please.
So when you go into Matt's thinking palace, do you
The mind palace?
The mind palace.
Yep.
Do you give yourself intentional time? Like, do you actually carve out time in your day to go, actually, I'm just going to, I mean, you talked about rearranging your office earlier, but do you allow time, just thinking time?
Sometimes, yeah.
In your schedule?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's so hard to prioritize and protect, I guess, is the way I put it.
Yes.
Because we're constantly, and you know, like I've got a team here, there's a lot of things being asked of me at any one time. The idea of just going, I'm not doing anything, quote unquote, for an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, feels really challenging and upsetting. Yeah. It's like, but I've got to be productive. I've got to have an output. I've got to whatever. But it's part of the process of letting this stuff just figure itself out and you know, let the instinct take over rather than the desire to tick a box in 20 minutes time and move on. So yeah, sometimes it's like white space. It will be blocked out in the calendar as like Matt's thinking.
Yep.
Right. Other times it's like, well, I'm going to set myself a block of time, say it's like 10 to 12 in the morning, and I'll have 3 or 4 dedicated tasks and they take as long as they take. And inside that, let the meandering, daydreaming, you know, thought chasing happen because that's what those tasks need. Sometimes it's really good, like, a lot of my role is the creative direction of a project, which is obviously very focused, but then a lot of the outreach and the business development and sales activity or marketing activity. And sometimes it's like understanding what has been working and the data there. Other times it's like seeing what is happening elsewhere in research or trends and things. Other times it's like just looking at what's happened and then accidentally scrolling on Instagram for a bit, and then you get exposed to another ad that then gets you go, actually, maybe that's a thought that I can connect to this other thing here. And that stuff, on paper seems like a waste of time, but it's the thinking time around it that really generates the like, hey, I want to actually explore this further, put together a task list on this thing or whatever it is. When it comes to projects as well, we do a lot of parody. We do a lot of like genre stuff.
Yeah.
And I have spent my entire life just devouring genre movies, TV shows, and I love, Dr. Seuss we've talked about in the past, that all these things like just live inside me as like part of the way I think about the world and creativity and art and things like that. That if we have a project that sort of needs to tap into that, I'm better served just to kind of go, cool, we've got this theme here for this company and they want to do a movie parody. Tuck that in the brain, go away and let the just ideas bang around in my head until they stick together and you go, oh, yep, speed. Let's put all the key leaders on a bus and get them to give their message within 20 minutes or else the bomb explodes. Like that just happens because you give it time to connect the dots. So yeah, it's a tough one to put in the calendar, but if you don't do it, then you just kind of get sucked into the doing, not the thinking.
Yeah. And I think it's a real trap. For a lot of people. I'm going to nerd out. Can I nerd out?
Please.
Because I find this really interesting because I think you're right. For me, one of my little tricks is if I've got something that I really need to think about or I need to be really creative around, I block in swimming time and I take my time. I go across the road. We've got a pool and I swim and that's my like thinking time.
Yeah.
However, this gentleman, David Creswell, he actually researched what happens when we've got a really hard problem that we can't solve, and what happens when we put our things down and we go and play, and then we come back to it.
Yeah.
And there was a huge research around solving complex problems by actually stopping and playing, because what it's doing is giving your subconscious time to do exactly what you're talking about, add your history and all of your bits together so that these ideas have time to bubble up.
Yeah.
But when we're in this incredible fast-paced world where we're pumping, it's really hard to put in the calendar. I struggle going, actually, I'm just going to have a morning of thinking. I feel really guilty, but it's so powerful.
Yeah.
So we tested this out, right, this concept of stopping, dropping and playing. This was with Jen Fram, the incredible Jen Fram. She, in one of her online workshops, she allowed me to come in, and during it, we really looked at we were looking at infobesity, right? This influx of information.
Hey. What an amazing term I've never heard.
You've never heard of infobesity?
Infobesity?
It's incredible.
That's awesome.
All right,
yeah,
next.
Great.
Season 3? Anyway, so what we did was we started online. We had a complex problem around change and we all tried to problem solve it together. And then we stopped. We went off, we played, we did some art together on the screen and we just stopped and played, and then we came back to the problem. And the one thing that we noticed, even in this little tiny example, was it wasn't necessarily the quantity, the amount of suggestions, but it was the quality that had changed.
Yeah.
The ideas became deeper, more connected, more human-centered, much more effective when we gave it time to just filter. And I think there's something really valuable in the creative process around doing exactly that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we talked before this about like, any big creative project I've done, it's always come off the back of just weeks and months, if not years of just thinking and thought process around it. Then when the act of actually coming and putting together happens like that. It's overnight, a couple of days. So like the short film I made a few years back, it takes a lot of inspiration from Dr. Seuss novels, and the whole thing rhymes, and it's about gangster movies and stuff as well. So there's these two separate worlds that you just kind of, it's an interesting combination once you put them together. I think I had the idea for like 2-3 years. And when it came to actually writing it, I kind of got the list of the little genre tropes and then just jammed it all together. And it took like 2 days and the script barely changed off the back of that. And I put that speed down to the fact that the time of just letting the idea percolate and what kind of ideas were interesting to pursue and explore further, and just kind of thinking on that and then thinking on that and thinking on that. Just the reward of that means the pace at which you can execute on that idea, because it's kind of all the permutations of that are figured out. So like for us, right, so many conversations we have about content these days is like, well, I've got a cousin that can just shoot it on their phone and do it really, really quickly.
Yeah.
Right? Sure. If you're racing to produce just content to add to the noise in the world. Whereas, I've had 14, 15 plus years experience in this industry, put our whole team together, it's, 40, 50 years of experience cumulatively. So what happens when we sit down to tackle that same problem? It's all of the learnt and testing and experiences and things we've thought about and problem solving we've done in the past that we can then just in that moment move really quickly and make a creative decision that we know has a high likelihood of succeeding. Ben and I were on a job literally the other day, and we were presented a script and a brief and an idea, but when we got there wasn't really a plan outside of we're going to just capture this. And on the fly, we could go, yep, we're going to put that over here, and here's how it's going to move and be really dynamic. And we're now in the process of cutting that. And it's like it's working really, really well because all of that thinking time on previous problems has compounded to become really, really quick to access in the future. So I think, for anybody else watching this, whether they're in a creatively charged environment like video creation or speaking or engagement, whatever it is, or in a way that, they're looking to do something a little bit differently, taking the time to really just embed the ideas and the outcomes in a way that they just, really become firmly entrenched in the way you think about it will then mean that the execution of that's just going to be so much richer because they've had time to germinate. Yeah.
I have 2 questions for you. One of them is leading. I don't even care. I'll say it.
Please, do it.
Do you think you have, like, in the back of your, I was going to say massive head. That's not the right word.
No?
In the back of your brain, do you think you have like a little compendium of ideas that you've just collected along all those years that you just store there and can pull out at any moment? I mean, that's kind of what you're saying, but I'm just wondering how solid you think that compendium is.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever thought about it as like, oh, yep, going to go flick to this page and pick that idea out today. But it's definitely like, it's think of it this way, right? It's probably like poker hands where you've got a deck and you get drawn or presented with, 3 cards, 2 cards and whatever it is, right? There's a number of different configurations you can make and play with that. And the skilled, experienced poker player kind of knows where the deck's going to land and what's going to come out later to then sort of play it in their favor. So it's that kind of thinking. What a great metaphor I've just come up with off the top of my head, by the way.
Did you see the nod and the smile? I was like, wow, look at him go.
As I started, I was like, this is great. This is a really good metaphor.
Yeah.
Metaphor. We're going to claim that.
Metaphor.
Yeah. But,
have you used that before?
I have once or twice, but it's a good one. It's just gone back into the compendium, pulled it out, trademark. Yeah, it's like it's knowing what's going to work or ways to agitate ideas and concepts in a way that's unique and interesting. So even if like a recipe, for example, everybody can take the same cookbook, but if other people are, cooking it, they might put a little bit extra this or leave something to simmer for a little bit longer. The end result's always going to be slightly different based on the user preference. So even if we're iterating on the same idea for multiple different jobs or clients, they're always going to feel different because of the process at which it's being made and who it's being made with.
That one's good, not as good as the poker.
It's not as good, but it's like, I don't know, I'm salivating a little bit. Maybe I'm just hungry. I don't know.
So there's the leading question, right? Because I know that I had this sort of stack of ideas. This little brain goes, blah, 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 blah. It's got all the compendium. And when I get to pull out one of those and use it somewhere, fitting, it feels so exciting.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, great. Oh, that thing I've been thinking about. On these little ideas that sit there and you're like, one day I'll use it. One day it's coming. It's coming, the right place, the right space, the right time. And it never looks like it was going to. But as you say, it's the art form. To use my newly found metaphor, the poker, to actually use the skill of a poker.
Yeah.
So you can see how skilled I am if you're watching this visually. I'm imagining holding poker hands. It's that skill of knowing how and when. And you're right, that's the slow versus the fast.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's the, the skills and experience to know when to tap into those or when to, we've talked a lot about like the fear of failure and experimentation and stuff in the past. When you don't have a great idea, that's also okay. And you shouldn't brute force it to go, we're going to make an idea. But it's like, I used the word agitate before. I kind of really like that as a phrase because you want to sort of get, all right, we've got the kind of bare bones of what we need to achieve. Let's just agitate it a bit, shake it around. I grew up in Ballarat, and so Sovereign Hill was a big part of my childhood. Not every day, but pretty regularly. Panning for gold, right? And it was always just like this, shovel it out and see what you find. And sometimes it just takes a while, and you got to pan a whole lot. Other times there's a little fleck of gold, and you like follow that trail. So, I think it's the antithesis of going fast, going slow. I think taking the time to set yourself up for success as opposed to just like brute forcing and kind of committing to whatever the first option is why I'm such a big fan of this thinking time, of being able to just sit with something and explore it a little bit rather than just have to execute it straight away.
Absolutely. And I think the other mastery comes with knowing that you can throw away creative ideas.
100%.
I feel like people who don't take the time to let ones come out will run at the first thing, and actually sometimes they need time. Sometimes they need that, and you need to be able to be brutal enough. Like I've had people say, I'm so sorry, I'm not going to use that. It's like, fine, I don't care.
Great,
it's one idea. I've got another. I've got a compendium. They're all just hanging out in here.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that was my – oh, no, I have a second question.
Yeah.
What was the second question? It was
this
a really
third?
good
I think
one.
you had a second question. Is this the third question now?
I was blown away by the metaphor.
The metaphor.
Hang on. Oh, I've got one more thing that I want to say.
Okay.
It's one more. It's my nerdy research.
Sure.
Can I pull out my nerdy research?
Please do.
So I've been really studying imagination. It blows my mind. Like things like purple isn't a colour. What?
Yeah,
Another
I heard
episode.
that.
Yep. Okay.
We'll get to that.
But I was looking at brain scans of what happens when we daydream 20% of the day, roughly.
I'm doing it right now.
Here we go. Ta-da! And when they do a brain scan of what parts of your brain light up with the imagination, it's like a day spa for your brain. Like all the parts of your brain light up. So using your imagination is actually like a little refresher. It's like a little spa for your brain. And I think once again comes back to this going slow to go fast.
Yeah.
We don't give our brains the time to use our imaginations. We're doing it a disservice.
It's and look, not to kind of get on the dad soapbox again, but it's like if I'm ever working at home with the kids and one of them comes on and goes, hey, Dad, can you play with me? Can you build this thing? Can you do whatever? The resistance, like, I'm on the clock. I've got to finish this work and then I'll come play, is so much more counterintuitive to productivity and whatever than to say like, you know what? Down tools for 10, 15 minutes. Hey, mate, let's go do this. I got 10 minutes. Let's go. And like committing to the play, shaking it up, engaging a different part of your way of moving through the world, and then come back to that thing with such a new, unique, energy and approach to it. Like, why wouldn't you?
Now you know that by doing that, you're actually improving your problem solving and improving your creativity by going off to play for 10 minutes. Now you've got the research behind you.
That's it.
It goes back. Don't get busy making a living when you forget to make a life.
Perfect.
Not quite as good as the poker thing, but hey.
I was going to say, isn't there another saying? It's like, get busy living or get busy dying. Who's that?
I don't know.
You know.
Shawshank Redemption.
There
That's
we go.
it. Yeah.
Or the one that we read. Yeah. The one earlier.
Anyway, that'll do.
That'll do. Anyway, how do we end this?
I've done it.
Done.